Very good morning everyone. How are you? Am I audible and clearly visible? Audio video clear? Yes? Okay. All right. Very good morning. Hope you all are doing good. So let's start with today's editorial analysis. Need not worry about yesterday's analysis. You know that we don't take editorial classes on Tuesday as it is our off, okay. So, but I have went through all the newspapers, all the 6-7 newspapers of yesterday as well and today as well. So there was no important editorial in yesterday's analysis or any of the newspapers, so need not worry about that. But yes, there is an important, very important rather, news regarding RBI. As you must know, RBI has launched 3 initiatives yesterday, right? So that I will be taking up for you in the 5-minute series of the classes which we have started, okay. Alright, so that we'll cover today only. Yeah, one app, one portal and all these things launched by RBI. So I'll be taking up these 3 initiatives in your 5-minute series today. But in today's editorial analysis, I have checked all the newspapers and we have 2 editorials for discussions which are relevant for you. Okay, so let's begin and it will be very interesting to know. See, as you can see here, I have combined 2 editorials, okay. This one, the left one, this one is from your business line, okay, and this one, right one, is from your business standard. Both the editorials, interestingly, are talking about the same thing today, right? So that's why I have combined them together into one slide only and the entire analysis is the same. So they both are talking about the same thing, right? As you can see the heading here, relook at tariffs, FTAs and global value chains. This is the first article's heading. Then the second one is FTA benefits elude India, right? So broadly these 2 editorials are talking about the benefits of lower or higher tariffs in case of India, why India has been benefited or if not from FTAs, from higher or lower tariffs. So all these debates around these things are here. You will get a very clear opinion and your opinion regarding what should be India's trade policies, okay, whether India should lower the tariffs, whether India should sign more FTA or not, whether is it benefiting India or not. So these things will be clear and I would appreciate if you give me your opinion by end of this lecture, because today it is a kind of a debate going on in for the future course of action regarding FTAs and tariffs in India. Okay, so have you understood the plot, what we will be talking about today, right? So let's begin and I have put this heading here, as you can see. As you can see, FTA, you all know what is FTA, free trade agreement, right? FTA. So I have put this title here, FTA had freed up India or Indian trade, or it has been a shackle on the growth prospects. So this is the title which I have put it here, okay. So we'll be coming back to this question, okay, and I'll appreciate your answers on this question later on after understanding the entire analysis, right? So these combined together, this editorial plus this is equals to what? So this what is the analysis of today, okay. Let's begin. So as you can see the title here, shall India lower the tariffs? Lower the tariffs. What is the background? What is the background of these kind of editorials going on recently? Had there been any news or some statements with regard to India's FTA or tariff policies? Yes, that's why we are having such kind of columns in your newspapers. So what is the background, what is the news is that in a recent industry body function, so there was industry related function which was held recently in May only, the CEO of Niti Aayog, who is the CEO of Niti Aayog presently? Who is the CEO of Niti Aayog? Tell me. Anyone knows? So basically, CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Niti Aayog, has shared some insights on India's possible trajectory with regard to FTA, tariffs, non-tariff barriers, global value chain, emerging trade issues, etc. Okay. So why Subramaniam? What Subramaniam? See, first thing, these people are respected officials of government of India, okay? They are not your friends or not among your peer group. So whenever I have heard people saying, who is the finance minister? Sitaraman. No, you should give honor to them, okay? They hold certain position, authority, right? Okay, all right. Okay, that's good, you know. Yeah, they are elected, but at least giving respect. They deserve respect, although they are elected or not. Okay. Yeah, but always make it a habit, because it would affect your interview. That's why I am saying. Okay. I am saying it would affect your interview when it becomes your practice to say who is the finance minister, directly saying the name. Okay. Who is this officer, directly saying the name. It impacts our interview, okay? They are not indulging in these kind of debates whether person is elected or not. They want you to give respect to the system which you are aspiring to be a part of. That is my point. All right. Now let's begin. So the question is, shall India lower the tariffs? Now, what is the background? As I have told you, recently there was an industry meeting which was held in May, and in that meeting we had a huge opinions. A flood of opinions, and there were certain, insights given by the CEO of your Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog, you all know, the think tank of India, okay, policy think tank of India, which has replaced the Planning Commission, right? So the insights which have been given by CEO of Niti Aayog are here to be debatable. Okay, so those insights have been taken by these editorials, and they are debating upon them whether these statements are right, whether these views directly apply to Indian economy. Shall we adopt these insights directly? Shall the government adopt these policies directly? Okay, so these are the questions which we will be answering to. In regard to tariff policies of India, free trade agreements, non-tariff barriers, global value chains, etc. Right? Now, the first thing which the author says, so every debate here will start with this CNA, wherever CNA is written, wherever I have written CNA, this is CEO of Niti Aayog, okay, for your understanding. In later course of time, when you go through the PDF as well, CNA will be your CEO of Niti Aayog. So these statements are taken directly in the editorial, and then they have been debated that whether these insights are useful for India or not. Is this clear? So CNA will be your CEO of Niti Aayog. Okay. So CEO of Niti Aayog has said India should pursue lower tariffs to join GVCs. India should pursue lower tariffs to join GVC. Yes, CNA is a news channel as well, okay, but here I have taken the short form, okay, so these are the insights given by your CEO of Niti Aayog, clear? Okay, so first thing which the person said is, and which has been taken for debate, is that India should pursue lower tariffs to join GVCs. This is the first statement, okay. Now, be very careful and try to understand all the nuances here, that will India lower the tariffs, and if it lowers the tariffs, will it help India to join GVC? Now, to understand these things, you first need to know what is a GVC. Do you know what is a GVC? GVC here means global value chain. Global value chain. Global value chain. Okay. GVC is nothing but your global value chain. What is a value chain? As you all know, we have discussed in our classes that production is what? Production, the process of production. Production. What is production? production is nothing but the process of value addition, yes or no? Process of value addition. Yes, production is process of value addition, right? We add value to the inputs or raw materials to convert them into final goods, right? So this is, production is nothing but a value chain, value addition process in which you add value to your intermediate goods to convert them into your final goods, right? So GVA is what? GVC is what? Gross, say global value chain. GVC here is global value chain. So whenever I refer to GVC or global value chain, that would mean, now see, globally what is happening, you know that production of a particular product from one country might be linked through say 4 to 5 countries. Some products are assembled in some other country, okay, they are produced in some other country, the customer service is provided in some other country. So global value chains are very interlinked and complicated. You cannot say that the production process is going on in a single direction. No, it has spread across directions. Do you agree or not? Right? Someone or some MNC producing something from India might have the other countries, say 7 to 8 countries included in that value chain in production process, right? So this is your GVC, global value chain. So when I say global value chain, we mean at the global level all the production activities which are going on. Is that clear to you? The GVC. So all the value chains, all the production related processes which are going on globally. That is what we mean by GVCs. Is it clear to you all? GVC, global value chains. Understood? Okay, all right, very good. Okay. What is the statement here? That the person said that India should pursue lower tariffs to join GVC. Tariffs are what? When we impose taxes on import of your goods and services. Okay, so we are talking about taxes on imports particularly. Okay, imports, exports related tariffs we are talking about, right? Now here is the analysis, that is this true for India? Is this useful for India? Shall India indulge in these kind of policies, lower tariffs, to join GVCs, to be a more active part of global value chain? So let's try to understand. So this is the question and the following analysis lies as the answer. Okay, so stay focused now. However, now the author analyzes the positives and negatives of this statement. The author says we have both positive and negative examples of impact of tariff cuts globally. Impact of tariff cuts globally. So basically we cannot directly adopt this statement that India should lower the tariffs. Why? First of all, why do we want to lower the tariffs? First thing, any answers please? You know that there is a body called WTO, right? World Trade Organization, which was earlier known as GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, right? So WTO basically wants to facilitate free and fair trade in the entire world. That's why every country is trying to be more liberal according to WTO's norms in their trade policies. This is the first thing. But every country is not equal in terms of economic development to offer same level of freedom for the other countries' products to enter into their market. Are you getting this point? Okay, that's why we have differential tariff norms and some countries benefiting out of some tariff policies while others are not. Some countries might be benefiting due to lower tariffs, while some countries might, for some it might be harmful. Okay, so let's analyze this in case of India. So the author is saying that this statement has both negative and positive examples to protect domestic industries. Yes, it has been done. Okay, so but it has positive and negative examples. What are these examples which we can learn from, and we should not directly adopt such type of policies? What are those examples? First thing, lower tariffs led to shutting down of most manufacturing units in the US and the EU. As you all know, the major economies of the world, one of the most developed economies of the world, the US economy and the European Union, right? So we have examples that low tariffs, lower taxes on importing your goods and services. Okay, when I say tariff, I mean here lower taxes on import of goods and services. We have both the impacts on Indian economy. Yes, we have both the impacts. Okay, that's what we are trying to analyze. You'll find your answers to every question by end of this analysis. Okay, just stay focused. And so the author is saying that we have had examples in global environment, global scenario, that major economies like US, like European Union have seen shutting down, not even running into say some kind of losses, the entire shutting down of various manufacturing units due to lower tariffs, which increased their reliance on imports from China. So you cannot afford, when US and EU cannot afford to have lower tariffs, how a developing economy like you, which has underlying challenges like poverty, like unemployment, right, like increasing cost of production. We have a huge cost of production in almost all industries. With all these challenges, how can you manage to be lowering the tariffs on your products which you import, right? So are you getting this point? Is this example clear to you all? Now what happens is, see, when you lower the tariff on certain goods, say particularly good X here, okay, so lower tariff, for example China, let's take an example of China. So we are China and India, okay, we are importing something from China, for example, importing this good X from China into India. Now if we adopt very lower tariff policies, that would mean that this product can easily enter Indian market. Yes or no? Because of low taxes. When you have to pay low taxes entering into some other country's market, you would try to enter more and capture the market, isn't it? This product will be entering Indian market easily. Now when this product enters Indian market easily, the same product, say the Indian version of this product Y, Indian version of this product Y is produced in India as well, but we have a huge cost of production. Our costs are high. In case of Indian version, you have huge costs. Why do we have huge cost? Sometimes we do not have state of the art technology, sometimes we lack capital, we lack funds, okay, and not being able to use a state of the art technology, it sometimes increases the cost, while on the other hand some country might be having better technologies, better funds, more funds. Are you getting this point? Now when this product enters your market, it is in competition with the same version of your version of the same product, right? But which will be costlier or cheaper? This will be or this will be? X will be more cheaper or Y will be more cheaper? Answers please, quickly. X will be more cheaper or Y? Okay, one answer, X. Yes, very good. Why? Because they have lower cost of production, and when they have low cost of production, they will be able to sell it at a lower price in your market. Now when they are, very good, so when they are able to sell it at a lower price in your market, what about the producers which are producing your version of the same product in your market? They will see a decline in the demand of their products. Yes, lower cost, very good, right? So if the demand of your product declines, they will not be able to produce much. That means lesser production. Lesser production in your economy means lesser employment. Lesser employment in your economy means increasing again the earlier problem of unemployment. So why would you want to increase the problem which you have been dealing with for so long time? Is this clear? So that's why major, and that we are talking about a developing country like India, and here the author has given you example from one of the major economies which are developed, right? So when even they were not able to sustain lower tariff rates, how would you be able to? Okay, now if you do not produce so much, that means you rely more on imports from other country. If your manufacturing units shut down due to some of your trade policies like lower tariff rates, that would mean you depending more on imports from some other country like this. So they were now more dependent on imports from China, and now as you can see that US is trying to correct this trajectory. Yes or no? We have discussed in one of the previous editorials that US is increasing protectionism in terms of China, right? 100% tariffs on certain products like EVs, etc. from China, isn't it? We have analyzed that news, right? So now they want to reduce their reliance on countries like China. So this had to be corrected because they adopted wrong trade policy. Why do we want to repeat the same mistake? First thing, is this clear? Have you understood till this point? Okay. So the US now uses high tariffs. Now you are correcting your decisions, right? You are using higher tariffs, as you see regularly in the news. US then and now imposing new tariff rates, new sanctions on the products imported from countries like China, right? And subsidies to boost local manufacturing, a strategy India is also adopting. India is also adopting this strategy that you should increase your tariffs from the countries on the products which you are importing, right? And increase subsidies on your products. Now, increasing subsidies on your products also helps boost your exports. How does increasing subsidies on your products helps you in boosting exports? Say suppose you provide subsidy on fertilizer, for example, right? You provide subsidy, India provides subsidy on fertilizer. When you provide subsidy, the cost of production becomes lower for the producer. Okay, for example, if one packet of some fertilizer, I'm just taking an example, okay, I'm not talking about the present rates, so do not get confused. For example, if there is a 300 rupee packet of say fertilizer and government says 100 rupees will be given as subsidy to you, so you only have to incur 200 rupee cost to buy the fertilizer. So it has reduced your cost of production. When your cost of production reduces, you will be able to sell the product at a cheaper price. So that would increase your exports, isn't it? Right? So this is the policy which India should adopt now and which has been adopted by the major economics. So this is the first angle, that you should not directly consider lowering the tariffs. It might be very harmful for you, particularly for India. For India, you know, India is right now promoting domestic manufacturing, attracting investors, investments to increase employment in your economy, to reduce poverty, to reduce unemployment, to increase employment opportunities, right? We have schemes like production linked incentives, in which we are providing financial incentives for domestic manufacturing, right? We have Make in India like programs. So that kind of decision would be contrary to the aim which these all initiatives taken recently by the government of India serves, right? So this is this thing. Next, moving ahead. Now the author says that Indian tariffs, this is tariffs, okay, so it is a typing mistake. Indian tariffs are on the higher side compared to developed country averages. The author is saying we have higher tariffs as compared to developed countries, okay. We need not increase them so much, but we can derive some efficient policies. We can make some efficient policies. Now there is one example given here by the author. So firstly he is saying that Indian tariffs are on higher side when we compare to global averages or tariffs of the other developed countries. But in financial year 2023, say government collected this much, okay, crore in custom duties on imports worth, say this will be 57 lakh crores, okay, indicating an effective import tariff of 3.8%. This rate is low because imports are used as inputs for exports. This rate is low because imports are used as inputs for exports are not charged a tariff, but tariffs are high for the same product when imported for domestic use. Now there is a huge underlying problem here, okay. As you can see that we have been collecting in lakh crores, we have been collecting tariffs in lakh crores as the example given here, okay, 57 lakh crores, right, indicating an effective import tariff. We have an effective import tariff, but then what is the problem lying here? The problem lies in the quality of your tariffs. What section are you targeting through your tariff policies? Are you getting my point? So this is the major underlying problem, and this is very important for you as well. You should remember this, that what is the problem? The problem is say imports used as inputs for exports are not charged. Remember, so this data is not important for you. This data is not important for you. It's just to substantiate this point that our tariff collections, our tariff rates are higher than the developed countries. So this is not at all important. You just need to remember the problem which is there. What is the problem? That the imports which we are doing, and some of your imports are used as raw materials or inputs, yes or no? All the imports which you do are not consumed directly, isn't it? For example, you are importing say best quality of coal in India to produce some machinery to be used in your thermal power plants or a particular industry which uses coal as an input to produce say some machinery, some heavy machinery, okay. So in that case your import of coal is used to export some product, not for your domestic use. Are you getting this point? You would agree. If you don't know, let me tell you, India does not have the reserves of high quality coal, okay. Can you tell me the name of the high quality coal which is there? Which is the high quality coal? Buying crude oil from one country and supplying as export. Yes, that is also another example which you can have. I am asking you which is the best quality coal. Anthracite. Do you know anthracite? Okay, but India, yes, anthracite, but India does not have enough reserves of anthracite coal, which is the best quality of coal, okay. Which coal is the best? Which has more sulfur content and lesser ashes content. Are you getting my point? But India has huge reserves of coal, but they are of the low quality coal, which are your peat, bituminous, lignite, all these coals, okay. They have a high ash content and lesser sulfur content, okay. So for example, we are importing good quality coal for some industries which are producing some heavy machinery. So that imported product is used as an input to export something, right? Now what is our tariff policy on this? That this tariff rate is low because imports used as inputs. So we are talking about those imports which are used as inputs for exports, like I have given you the example, are not charged a tariff, so they do not attract tariffs, or to be very particular here, although there are tariffs, but the GST policy of India, you know about GST, we have discussed GST in one of the editorials, that exports under GST are zero rated. Exports under GST are zero rated, or say Indian government is trying to promote the exports, okay. So whatever the taxes which you have paid on inputs used for your exports are refunded back to you, yes or no? We have discussed this, right, in one of the editorials in which I have taken up the GST analysis, right. So this this thing which you pay on inputs is refunded to you. Why is this government doing so? To promote exports. Is this clear to you all? So whatever you are importing as which is to be used as input for the product which you are trying to export to some country is not charged a tariff. So they do not attract tariffs. Even if they attract tariffs, that is refundable. Is this clear to you all? Yes or no? Anyone? Have you understood this point? Yes? Okay. Alright. So this is first thing. But then what is the problem? That okay, you are promoting exports, so that's why you are not charging the imports which are using for exports. Okay. But then tariffs are high for the same product. This is the problem. Tariffs are high for the same products when imported for domestic use. This is the irony, the biggest problem which is hindering India from capitalizing upon its tariff policies. Just remember this point. You are say charging nominal tariffs or no tariffs on imports of those products which you are using as inputs to export the product, inputs to manufacture a product which you need to export. Okay, that is fine. But why the tariff rates are high for the same product when you are importing it for domestic use? For example, let's take the same example again, the anthracite coal, best quality coal. Okay, so we are importing coal. So when we imported coal for a particular industry, that industry was producing something which was to be exported, so no tariff. This was first thing. Second thing, when we imported the coal not to export something but for our domestic use only, then you have higher tariff rates. That would mean what? That would mean you imported coal from some country, okay, and higher tariffs are there. Higher tariffs are there because you are not using it as an input in production of some product which is to be exported. Okay, you are using it as an input for your domestic purpose only. That product will lie in your country only, right? So you have imported the coal, now more tariffs, that means your import bill is more. You have imported the input costlier. So when your input is costlier, your cost of production is higher, isn't it? Again, your cost of production is higher, you will not be able to sell the product at a cheaper or competitive rate in the market. That means again what? That there is some glitch in your policies which are not benefiting your domestic producers. Have you understood this dilemma? Yes or no? Everyone? Just let me know, because this is the serious problem which we have. You should remember this point, that okay, you are promoting export, that is good, but why do we have higher tariffs on imports of such inputs which are used for production of those products which are there lying in your for your domestic use only, which are not to be exported? Got this point? Yes or no? Just let me know quickly so that I can proceed with the analysis. Anyone? Understood? Getting? Okay. If you have any doubt, you can tell me. It's just that I want to know whether you have understood this point or not. Okay. Yes? Okay. So this is the dilemma, that I am again repeating it once again so that you understand it better. The thing is, same product, for example, the coal which we have taken, when you are importing coal or any other input, importing for manufacturing of a product which is to be exported by your country, not to be used within the territory, you have no tariffs over that. First thing, that is good, you are promoting exports. But then the question which editorial puts in is, why do we have higher tariffs when we import the same product, coal, for production of that product which is not to be exported but to be used in your country? That means the domestic producers will be less competitive in the market. That is not good for the economy, right? Now I hope you have understood. Okay, so this is the problem. Again, so here the author says that higher tariffs on raw materials have a cascading adverse impact on the economy. Same thing which I have explained to you, that such raw materials, for example, coal we have imported as raw material. So when you have higher tariffs on raw materials for production of certain goods within your economy, not to be exported, that have cascading effect and adverse impacts on your economy. What kind of adverse impacts? You become less competitive because you have higher cost of production. When you have higher cost of production, you will not be able to compete with the same goods of other economies which have entered into your market. Yes or no? Okay, but we are not in position to eliminate higher tariffs on crude oil and many industrial raw materials. So one of the examples which you can have is crude oil. Although, so again there is another dilemma lying here. Try to understand both the sides of the coin. First thing we have highlighted, the editorial has highlighted that although we have high tariffs on imports of raw materials as well, which is affecting adversely our own economy, but again we cannot have lower tariffs as well. We cannot reduce tariffs by substantial amount, because reducing those tariffs by substantial amount would mean a more adverse impact than the earlier one. Suppose you have reduced the tariffs on certain goods, so importing those goods, producing those goods, okay, some MNC might be doing that, so that will make other countries' products competitive into your market and your product less competitive. That would affect your economy adversely. Is this clear to you all till now, right? So this is the thing. Okay, any doubts? Okay, now the author says in India higher tariffs worked well for many sectors. India became a small car hub. So now we have success stories. Apple can be an example of this dilemma. Yes, particularly which problem are you talking about related to Apple? That we are unable to produce the Apple products at a lower cost of production. Are you targeting that situation? Mobile phone. Yeah, in that case you can see the same problem to somewhat extent lying over there. Okay, all right. So in India, high tariffs worked well for many sectors. India became a small car hub due to high import duty. So here the author is validating high tariff rates. Okay, although high tariff rates have certain adverse impacts, but it has benefited your economy as well. See, economy is a very complex structure. Okay, in economy, with always remember in a huge country and a complex economy like India, a single policy of the government cannot please every sector of the economy, because we have a huge economy and the variations are there. Some sector needs some kind of policies, the other one would need some contrasting type of policies. Are you getting this point? So one budget policy affects every sector differently. So here author is trying to say that although there are problems with higher tariff rates, but compared to lower tariff rates, higher tariff rates have been beneficial for India. We have data for that. What is the data? So the author is saying India has benefited from high tariff rates. How? India has become a small car hub. How? Due to high import duty. So we had 70 to 125% import duties on automobiles, okay, and lower duties on auto components, 5 to 15% on auto components. Are you able to understand this? Why do we have lower duties, say 5 to 15% only on auto components and higher duties on automobile? understand this structure here. This is what the policy should have. Okay, so you have reduced the import duty on the raw material. The auto parts are the raw material only. When you can import auto parts at a lower import duty, that would mean you will be able to assemble the car with a lower cost of production. Yes or no? When you are able to assemble the car at a lower cost of production, your car manufacturers will be able to produce more cars at a competitive rate in the market. Isn't it? Agree or not? That's why having less percent, say 5 to 15 on your auto components is beneficial for you, and at the same time having such high percentage of duties on automobiles, the manufactured cars which you are importing from some countries, foreign companies which are operating in other countries. So that would mean you have provided your producers an edge over the others. You are importing a whole car, okay, assembled car, proper car which is ready to be used at a higher import duty. That would mean the importers of those cars will be importing them less, okay, and the auto parts you are importing from other countries are attract less import duty. That means you will be able to import more of the auto parts. When you are able to import more of the auto parts, you will be able to make the car, to assemble the car, to manufacture the car. So you will become the manufacturing hub. Otherwise you will become an importing hub, isn't it? Yes, increasing our production. Yes, very good. Okay, so you got this point. Now this kind of policy India needs. You need to promote cheaper import of raw materials to make your goods competitive in the market and capitalize upon the global value chains. Clear? On the other hand, the author has also given example of some other country which reversed this and faced huge losses. So in case of Australia, as the author talks about, on the other hand, Australia saw disappearance of all car makers. So India became, by adopting these kind of tariff policies, so how interesting it is, right? You have two contrasting case studies. One country like India which became a car hub, okay, and another country like Australia which saw entire disappearance of the car makers, disappearance of the entire market. How? When it gradually cut import tariffs from 45% in the early 90s to 5% 10 years later. So it basically cut down the tariff rates on imports of automobiles from 45 to only 5%. That would mean what? The imports of all the automobile companies have become a lot cheaper. That would mean Australian market was flooded with the manufactured cars from other foreign companies, and the own producers were not able to compete with the market. Isn't it? Agree or not? So the entire car market disappeared. Have you understood this? Both the case studies? Contrasting cases, right? So again, from here you can see that lowering tariffs in case of India can be like this much fatal. Yes, you have examples. We are not talking out of nowhere. Okay, we have data to support it, right? Now, so then the author says, the editorial says that any talk, okay, okay. So the author says that any talk of lowering tariffs hits a roadblock of possible disruption in schemes like production linked incentive. So here we relate it to our own schemes, as I have discussed. You know the PLI scheme launched by several ministries in all these sectors to incentivize domestic production of the goods, giving financial incentives, right? So this would affect all these schemes like Make in India, PLI in case of India. Then next we have in the same editorial, so this was from the tariff point of view, the debate over the tariffs. The another debate lies with regard to the carbon tax by EU. So European Union is devising a carbon tax, okay, for Indian products as well. So again, the person in the meeting, meeting which was held in May, talked that EU's carbon tax is not intended to hinder trade and India should adopt to these kind of changes to be competitive. So this was again the statement given by the person. Now we have a debate over it, okay, we have a debate over it that we cannot have a clear-cut acceptance of everything which is there. We need to protect our economy. Are you getting my point? So here the author says that, so the person says first thing that EU's carbon tax, you know what is a carbon tax? First of all, what is a carbon tax? Carbon tax is basically aimed at increasing your environmental concerns, okay. Concerns means, it means you are taxing the carbon emission which is there in the production process of a product. So we impose certain kind of taxes to make the industry think about the carbon emissions, okay, not ruthlessly producing anything which is leading to more carbon emissions. This is your carbon tax, isn't it? So now shall India adopt all these kind of carbon taxes? To prevent excess carbon footprint? Yes. Can we say that it pushes made in India products more in the market or the carbon content of us? Yes, we cannot say that it pushes made in India products directly, okay. We have to analyze the thing. From which angle are we talking about? Here के different data given होते हैं, okay. So Vanshi is saying that जो newspaper में the data which is given it is not easy to comprehend. That's true, okay. That's why we have these kind of analysis. I am bringing you the data with relevant theory so that you can understand the data which is going on, okay. So you need not mug up all the data, just you can remember the data relevant to your topics mentioned in the syllabus, okay. That might be useful for you, and in case you have difficulty in understanding the data given in the newspapers, you have the analysis to understand what the data is talking about. Alright, so need not worry about these things. There is a lot of data, you don't have to deal with the data, okay. Alright, now so again we were discussing about the carbon taxes, right? So carbon tax to be introduced by EU. So first thing, the person said that okay, India should adopt it, but this author has indulged into debate over this statement. What is the debate? That when fully implemented, if carbon tax fully implemented on Indian products exported to EU, it will result in a 20 to 35% import tax on Indian firms. Do you understand that? Do you understand this? 20 to 35% tax on your products when you export them to EU market, European Union's market. That would deter the exports from your country. Yes or no? Right? Why? Because you presently don't have those state-of-the-art technologies which are able to produce with much with lesser carbon footprint. Okay. FDI follow का लास्ट ईयर का डिफरेंट फिगर्स गिवन था, कैसे डिफरेंशिएट करें. FDI, which data are you talking about? FDI data different था in newspapers you are saying. Okay, so first thing, if I am getting your question, your doubt right, let me tell you first thing that data which you are using into your answers can be of your official sources. You should rely on your RBI data. You should rely on your ministry's data. Okay. Do not rely on the newspapers data. Just rely on the data given by your ministries, by your offices. Okay, so if you are having confusion regarding FDI data mentioned in your newspaper, you can select the topic and find out the relevant data of the phenomena going on from your authentic sources like RBI website, like ministries websites. Is this clear? Always witnessed trade deficit with China still we say use domestic production. Okay, tax based on how much carbon is being emitted during manufacturing of product. Okay, you will get all the answers after this. Okay, whether we are benefiting or not. Just let me complete the analysis first. Okay, and for the data thing I have cleared it to you that you will have confusion. Just try to bring out the data in your answers from your authentic sources, which are your RBI website, your ministry's websites, and your RBI or some Niti Aayog or other ministries publications. Clear? Okay. So now the author says that would deter Indian markets entering the foreign Indian products entering the foreign market. A firm has to share all plant and production details. And if that happens, your firms will have to share the information as well. That means a strategic concern, security concern as well, isn't it? In the present debate of over data privacy which we are having, and you know that there is a breach of data privacy everywhere, whether we accept or not, you more have to share the information, right? Then Indian firms must comply with EU requirements, but government must hit imports from the EU in equal measure. So the author says what to do. Shall we avoid these kind of taxes? Can we deny that, okay, we are not accepting your carbon taxes? No, the author says you should comply with all these things, but then Indian government should also respond in equal manner. You should also have certain taxes so that both the countries have an equal edge in the market. Do you agree with this? You agree with this? This last suggestion by the author, yes or no? Okay. Vanshi is saying it's very confusing reading different editorials on one side. Okay. So you need not read every editorial. I am picking up for you the relevant editorials. There are a lot of editorials there. Some might sound like economy, useful for your economy and financial point of view, but they are more political, have a political inclination. So need not worry about that. Just focus on those articles which are there selected in your analysis. Okay. Yes, so you will have these contrasting realities for economy. Remember, recently I have said that in case of such complex system like Indian economy, one policy cannot please every sector. You might have contrasting realities, okay? So that is not a problem. You have to accept it. In one sector you might have boom, in other you might have recession. Okay? Alright. That is the thing. So this is tit for tat. You should respond in the same manner. If the EU is trying to protect its market from your products, you should also try to do that. The thing is this, okay? So the author is trying to say this, tit for tat, right? Then labor and environment standards we have, okay? Again the author indulges. So first thing, the debate over tariffs. Second thing, debate over taxes like carbon taxes. Third debate is here regarding labor and environmental standards. So the author says that every country cannot follow the same labor and environment standards as well. You need to protect your market from these standards. Now it is also interesting to understand how does it unfold. Let's see. So the official has said again, which has sparked the debate, that labor, environment, similar issues are very integral to society and you should accept them. But that is not the case. India cannot accept everything. You need to protect your market from labor and environmental obligations as well. How? Let's see. Higher environmental standards of say US, EU are designed for domestic application in countries with a per capita income of say $50,000. So these environmental and labor standards of countries like US, EU apply to those countries which have a higher per capita income. You know, in that case you can purchase the goods which are costlier, because if you have very high standards of environment, of labor, you are paying very high wages to your labor, that would mean the product will become costlier. You need to buy it, okay? That should be affordable to you. So if your country has a more per capita income, that means that product will be affordable in your country. But that is not the case with all other countries and developing countries like India. Are you getting this point? You will see the example. Once you see the example, you will be able to understand. The problem lies in forcing such standards with countries with a lower per capita income, like a per capita income of say $2,000 only as compared to $50,000. Like for example, developed countries are using these restrictions in several cases. So here you have an example given by the author, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. According to this agreement, it prescribes that an auto component must be made by workers earning at least $16 per hour. Okay. Now this is very interesting. Just look at it. So this agreement requires that we will import your product only if that auto component is produced by a labor who earns at least $16 per hour. $16 per hour is huge, okay? Every country or every company is not able to pay this much to the labor, particularly the companies or the producers operating in developing countries like India. You agree or not? Tell me quickly, okay? So it will affect production in Mexico with a minimum wage of say $8 per hour. Some countries might have a minimum wage of this much only. You are requiring the product to be made on a double wage rate, isn't it? Are you getting this? I would appreciate your responses so that I can proceed. Yes or no? So having environmental standards, labor standards, it is a good thing. It sounds good in public discourses, in international discourses, right? But when it comes to their implementation, it affects variably. It affects in variations, okay? Countries having higher per capita income can afford having these taxes and standards. Countries having lower per capita income cannot pay their worker $16 per hour. So if you are imposing these standards and saying, okay, we'll import from only those countries which are paying at least this much, you are discouraging the exports of the least or developed or developing countries. Yes, theory is good, but not feasible for every country, right? So India cannot afford to implement the same stringent labor and environmental standards. We cannot have the equal standards, right? Then also one last thing which has been highlighted in both the newspaper is FTA, Free Trade Agreement. You know what is FTA, Free Trade Agreement? Free Trade Agreement is basically when you agree to reduce your tariffs on exports and imports between two countries or with other whichever is the country which you are signing the agreement with. Okay, so India has signed FTA with almost 14 countries, okay, including your EU, right? That means you allow their products to enter into your market at nominal tariff rate or sometimes no tariff rate. Are you getting this point? So this is FTA. But are they useful for Indian economy? So here the official in that meeting said that, the person underscored that they need to reduce tariffs to integrate India more into GVCs. Again, the same thing highlighted, you need to reduce the tariff. No. Why? The editorial says that despite offering zero tariff access to most industrial products, you have examples. You have had 14 FTA with 14 countries, okay, including organizations, right, in which you offer zero tariff access. What did I say recently? FTA means either nominal tariffs or sometimes zero tariffs as well. So their products are able to enter into your market very easily, okay, like ASEAN, Japan, South Korea. So these are certain examples of FTAs which are, which India signed in 2009, 10, 11 only. So they have had huge impact over Indian trade, right? India has not become a significant part of GVC even after this. When you have allowed zero tariff access to products from these developed countries like Japan, South Korea, the organization ASEAN you must be knowing, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN is what? Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Okay, it is a group of your Southeast Asian nations to foster economic, political, geopolitical development. Clear? So India has not been able to reap benefits out of it. Why? Because the problem does not lie in allowing zero tariffs or having higher tariff rates. The core problem lies in, the author has highlighted, both of them have highlighted, the two editorials which I have chosen, long port clearances times. Your products are requiring huge time in port clearances, you need to fix that, okay, and low ease of doing business. Your ease of doing business is low. What is ease of doing business? You have high tax laws, you have higher costs, okay, all these things. So ease of doing business, no easy entry and exit, all these types of things. So basically, the author is saying that high tariffs prevent India from joining GVCs, okay, but simply lowering tariffs without improving the business conditions could result into more imports replacing local manufacturing. So finally the author is saying, okay, we can accept that higher tariff rates are stopping India from actively participating more in the global value chain, but lowering would be affecting Indian economy more adversely. That would mean you will be importing more, isn't it? Now do you agree with this? Yes or no? After the entire analysis, that lowering the tariffs substantially would mean India importing more and exporting less at the end. Okay, serious efforts are needed to enhance the business environment and reduce cost. Now what you have to do if you want to increase your engagement in the global value chain and benefit out of these free trade agreements, you need to improve your business environment, improve your ease of doing business, okay, lower and easy to comply tax laws, favorable labor laws, okay, and other opportunities like special economic zones, etc., and reduce your cost. If your cost gets reduced, you will become competitive automatically in the global market as well. Then you would not need to take these kind of decisions like tariffs and FTAs, right? So reduce cost, you will become competitive, improve your business environment, and then you will be a very active member of the global value chain. This was the analysis. Now I want your answers. Do you agree that lowering the tariffs, have you understood all these analysis, all these points? It was interesting, right? But you should remember these angles going on in the Indian trade policy. So just let me know quickly, I want your responses. Have you understood this? Have you understood this? Any answers? Trade deficit also plunges. Yes, trade deficit is there. There is another debate over there. Have you understood this analysis? Tell me quickly. Yes, everyone. I'm waiting for your responses. So if you have understood, now will you be able to answer this question? FTA or free trade agreement had freed up Indian trade or has been a shackle on the growth prospects? Tell me, foreign trade agreements of India have added more to Indian economic growth or they have hindered the economic growth? Just one word answer, added or hindered. So I would get that you have understood or not, okay? So clearly saying that signing more FTAs improves your economy? No, you have glitches according to your economic situation, right? One word answer please, quickly. Hindered or furthered or increased? Hindered. Okay, very good. So you have understood that same thing does not happen for every economy. Having FTA is a good thing, but then you have to protect your economy as well. You should adopt the similar measures being adopted by your counterparts. That is the thing. Okay. All right, very good, very good. So now you have understood this entire thing. These are certain angles which you should know that Indian trade policy revolves around these things, okay? And I hope this was useful for you. You have understood new angles of trade policies, right? That was it for today's analysis, and I'll see you in the next editorial discussion tomorrow. Till then, have a great day. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Have a good day. Thank you.